After these three archaeological criteria for judging civilization were spread to the east, they caused a sensation in both Japan and China. But this matter is far from over. After that, scholars debated and thought about it for a long time. By 1977, Japanese Oriental historian Shigeki Kaizen was supplying Chi with the development of his doctoral thesis, Ancient Chinese Historiography. It was proposed that bronzes, palace machines, paper, and writing should be regarded as the three standards of civilization. Emperor Qi Tangchuan embroidery was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. Award the famous Chinese archaeologist Mr. Xia Nai gave a speech in Japan titled, The Origin of Chinese Civilization. He proposed country, city, writing, and bronze as the criteria for the origin of civilization, and believed that writing was the most important. In the following decades, this almost became a common standard in domestic academic circles. With the increase in archaeological unearthed cultural relics and the increasing profession of related theories, new views have emerged in recent years. Although the metal smelting technology, bronze smelting technology, the emergence of social classes, etc., they are all regarded by some scholars as a kind of civilization judgment standard, and their contents and specific definitions are still different. Human civilization cannot be divided well with one or two so-called definitions, that's for sure. For example, bronze smelting technology is a criterion for judging civilization. Although most civilizations in the world are independent or influenced by other civilizations, mastered the bronze smelting technology, but the Maya civilization has not yet mastered the bronze smelting technology. Everything they use in daily life is gold and silver, and the only small amount of bronze is polished from alloys that exist in nature. Another example is the emergence of social classes, a criterion for judging civilization. It is difficult to find precise information for verification. For example, the Harappan civilization in India had no so-called class divisions in states. It should be noted that social class is not an entity. Although there are a few physical cultural relics to support it, the three-level division of group classes is itself hierarchical. They are wrong and often have intersections. Even in the era of the Industrial Revolution, which we clearly understand, the emergence of various classes is difficult to define. What's more, based on ancient and even prehistoric records that are only based on archaeology and a small number of documents, the two main civilizations in our country do not have mature writing. In bronze. Although the standards for judging civilization, archaeology, and history have their own reasons, if you really want to find a standard that is universally applicable, it is basically impossible. There are at least 200 standards for determining the origin of civilization that can be found home and abroad. The civilization standards listed in popular archaeology today are all problematic. This problem appears in front of the rigorous Chinese archaeological community. There are many contradictions, causing the Chinese archaeological community to continue to dispute whether the two ancient cities belonged to civilization until 2013. This incident itself also proves that the civilization standards popular in the archaeological community are not universal. The author of this book basically believes that it is difficult to have a standard model that is applicable to all civilizations in the world because the more detailed the model is, the harder it is to adapt to all types of civilizations. Looking back at history, discussion of the origin of civilization began very early. Beginning with Morgan's Ancient Society in 1877 and Engels' The Family, Private Property, and the Origin of the State in 1884. By 1968, Daniel's The First Civilization, in 1975, serves the origin of nations and civilization. In 1978, The Origin of Civilization, edited by Murray, and The Origin of Nations, edited by Ho, Cohen, and Service. Since the 1960s, there has been an upsurge in Western academic circles to study the origins of civilization. However, before the 19th century, the West's definition of civilization was relatively narrow and considered advanced production methods. The party with rich knowledge represents civilization, while the party with low production capacity and etiquette that does not meet the Western definition represents barbarism. Therefore, when they invaded Africa and America, they always defined it as the victory of civilization over barbarism. But they didn't realize that their behavior was truly barbaric. In modern times, the West gradually realized that this definition of civilization was wrong. Today's academic circles generally believe that the country is a fundamental symbol of civilization. As for inventions and discoveries that are productive forces, such as bronze, ironware, writing, etc., they can only be used as reference indicators. It can be used to measure whether a country is developed or not. It cannot determine whether a country is born or not. Because the level of productivity reflected in inventions and discoveries will eventually expand population reproduction and complicate human groups to produce society, changes in organization, and the birth of the state. A criterion of the origin of civilization. Cities appear to be neither rigorous nor clear enough. If a city with more than 5,000 people has a transplant area of more than 500,000 square meters, it can be regarded as a standard for the origin of civilization. There are many prehistoric cultures in China. For example, does the culture of raising spoons count the number of twins? Therefore, the connotation and standards of the origin of civilization must be independent of regional influences and should be studied from multiple perspectives, such as changes in human social structure. Because the development of different utensils in different regions promotes the improvement of productivity, it will eventually lead to an increase in material products, population increase, social differentiation, and changes in human social structure. Whether it is words, symbols, or saving time, it can be regarded as an important criterion for the connotation and standards of civilization. Therefore, archaeology must also learn to closely follow the changes in social structure to study the origin of civilization. Changes in social structure will occur on prehistoric sites. What changes happened? There was no class differentiation in gentry society, and if gentry public recruitment etc. developed further, class differentiation would appear. Eventually, state forms such as large capital cities emerged. We believe that archaeology cannot discuss the origin of civilization apart from the definition and connotation of civilization, and should integrate social anthropology. History, archaeology, and DNA testing should be considered comprehensively, closely following the definition and connotation of civilization. By opening up the barriers between multiple disciplines, it is possible to formulate a corresponding and more unified standard or logo. From the perspective of social anthropology, the formation of a country is the symbol of the origin of civilization, and the kingdom is a symbol of the origin of civilization. Large capital cities, the end of local political power, the dead, and large-scale projects are the signs of the origin of civilization. We'll talk about the DNA identification method later.